3, 2, 1. Alright guys, what is going on? This is Brett, and welcome back to Week 9 Power Rankings, where we skip Week 8 because I am too lazy to do Week 8. And we are here with Ian. What's going on, man?
It's me, Ian. Just woke up, half asleep. Going to power through this power rankings with Brett.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Let's go.
Alright, before we hop into it, I want to say, watch till the end. We're going to have a special announcement at the very end, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, number 14, I have Splurge, and you have me. So, I feel like me and Splurge are kind of interchangeable at this point because we both suck at the game. So, the main reason why I put Splurge below me is because he's on a longer win-loss, like a losing streak than I am, and his differential is a little bit worse, so I put him there below me.
Okay, fair enough. The reason why I have you at 14, honestly speaking, I couldn't place either one of you. Either one of you could be 14 quite easily.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really not comfortable with your team this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've run out of transactions using all your FAs as well as your trades, and I don't think you're still fully comfortable with your team.
Not really.
And that showed against your game. Did you play Shadow, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Week 9 Shadow.
Yeah, you played Shadow, and honestly speaking, you just really struggled to cope with Shadow's attacks, and I think you're better off concentrating on next season from now and start planning the team for next season instead.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, you really just need to have fun at this point.
Because I know, like, whenever I was initially making, like, my team, before the season started, you knew my plan before I was going into it. It kind of just, like, fell apart first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, I wasn't prepared for this. But, I mean, I've still had some fun games here and there.
Yeah.
But it's just getting to a point where I'm getting burnt out with the season. And I think it'd probably be best if I just focus on just having fun for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I would say so.
And then number 13, we kind of just talked about this again. I have myself up here before Splurge because the win that I have is a 6-0, and I have less, like a little bit more, less negative differential than he has. But we're pretty interchangeable. It's you can flip flop either way easily.
Another reason I would put Splurge above you this week is because actually Splurge could have won his game, and I think he got hacked with his Mega Arrow missing a Stone Edge.
Like it's
against
been
the
really
Hunter.
It's been so hard to watch Splurge battle this season. He misses so often in every single game.
Yeah, he does.
It's very heartbreaking.
It is, but unfortunately, I think you kind of have to mitigate that by having more reliable mons with more 100% accuracy moves.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than have to rely on 70-80% moves hitting. Yeah, so I think there is a trade-off in that sense, but because he could have actually won this week.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I messed it up. Fuck. Number 12.
We're so ready for this.
We are so ready for this. We both decided to put Melone here at number 12. Who oh my god, he faced freaking Texas this week.
Yeah.
Texas, whenever Melone was facing against Texas, it didn't really feel like Melone could keep the momentum in his favor at all, because I don't think he really had many U-turners, volt-turners, and but we'll play on Texas part for that, for turning around on his team and just getting the momentum they needed. But just watching that, there wasn't really anything that I saw. Oh shit! I need to put that on my other monitor.
get demonetized, bro.
Yeah, I'm getting demonetized. It wasn't in the first 2 minutes. We're good. uh, but Melone really let Stealth Rocks and Spikes weaken his team down a lot during that, to where Texas could just clean up at the end with Infernape and everything.
Yeah. I think that in that game against Texas, Malone had no control whatsoever, and Texas kind of outplayed him.
Mm-hmm.
The season with Malone's play with Broxish, so much so that I kind of think that it is one of the bonds that changed next season. But other than that, I don't think it has been Malone's season so far. His team has his positives, but it does have a lot of negatives in that team. So I think he's another person who should think about next season instead.
Yeah, maybe focus on getting a team that he thinks he is more comfortable with in the long run.
Yeah. And he didn't bring any hazard removal against Texas, who was kind of known to bring a bunch of hazards, especially with Goldfish and Scarborough. So that was a bit of a misplay. I would have him where he is now, 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, number 11. We have another difference. We have so many things to talk about, Ian.
Yes, we do.
Why'd you decide to put Texas here at number 11?
Okay, so Texas had a really good week this week. He controlled the game against Melone from start to finish, and he timed his hazards really well. A bit of a weird play on the Scrafty Dragon Dance, but I think he played flawlessly. And I have nothing negative to say about him this week, but I feel like general hasn't been great so far with I think 3 wins so far.
Yep.
He's only on a 1-game win streak, and that's why I have him as in 11th compared to the next person, which I'm going to talk about. Yeah.
I decided to put Static here at number 11. He did manage to pick up another win this week against Splurge. Again, Splurge really could have done a lot more in that game. He could have won if it weren't for those misses. It's really unfortunate to see. But Static finally got another win. Not really seeing anything too impressive from him in that game, so I didn't feel like I could move him anywhere, really. I think I had him at 10th, but I bumped him down because I moved another person up.
Okay.
And going into number 10, you have Static here.
Yeah, so basically I rolled to reverse, or with rankings in reverse. I have Static in 10th because mainly he is currently on a 2-game win streak, but it wasn't entirely convincing. He could have lost that game quite easily if Aerodactyl didn't miss the Stone Edge. I think he would have lost that game.
Yeah, definitely.
Too high up, even though he did win this week and the week before. Yeah.
I decided to put Texas here at number 10 because like you were talking about in his battle versus Malone, you didn't really see anything too wrong from Texas there. He didn't pull any misplays or anything. The only thing I would have to say anything about is that Scrafty play, but I think he did have the end game in his mind that he still had that locked down with Infernape and everything there at the end.
Yeah.
Then moving on to number 9, we have Shadow, who freaking walloped me this week. Oh boy.
So I've been really impressed with Shadow this season. I said as much when I was on the last rankings video about 3 weeks ago, and he's impressed me even more since then. And this week, his Aromatisse, Landorus, and Zero was, I would say, and you didn't really have any answer for him whatsoever in that game.
Yeah, I really did.
I honestly wanted to play Shadow much higher up than his current location in 9th. I think going on his past records. I think he's just coming into his own now, but based on his past games, he hasn't had consistent enough run to be higher up.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah.
something I've been really impressed with Shadow about this season is he's been having a lot more control in his games, at least the ones that he has won.
Yeah.
I feel like his prep is starting to get a lot better, and just his battling in general, he's starting to be more consistent than he used to be. And I'm really looking forward to see if he can continue this like streak of his of being consistent, or if he's gonna fall into old habits. But I'm really impressed with him so far, and I'm really looking forward to see what he has to offer going forward.
Yeah.
Then moving on to number 8 here, you have Mr. Brad, who you beat in the Commissioner Bowl. Oh my God. And then I decided to put not Static. Who the fuck's Static? This is Matt. I decided to put Matt here at number 8. Who has been finally started to pick up steam going into these last few weeks of the season. Picking up a nice win over Bash, one of our he is still in playoff running. He's number 6 on the standings. But yeah, he picked up a nice win over Bash. Something that really confused me towards the end was I'm pretty sure if I looked at this right, he could have saved a differential point, but he switched from Scizor and Nihilego instead of just bullet punching the Torkoal to kill it.
Yeah.
That didn't really make sense to me. It really didn't. Like, he might have been thinking about like Rocky Helmet damage or something, but like Shadow Sneak, I don't think would have killed the Scizor, even if he did have the Rocky Helmet damage.
Okay. I have Brad at number 8, and I think has it been Brad so far? Brad's season so far, he isn't really that comfortable with his team. Been struggling to kind of get Zard to work properly.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been struggling quite a bit. I think this season he's used Crocodile really well. So that's dangerous bonds on his team. Against the game against me in week 9, he kind of lost the game as soon as Crocodile went down.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had Tentacruel and Slip-Off left, and I had Azelf, which got a lucky crit on Tentacruel with Energy Ball, but that didn't really matter because Scarf Magneton would have just Volt Switch to go to Beedrill, or just Volt Switch onto the Slurpuff and go to Beedrill and kill either way.
Yep.
So that game it definitely has potential. We can make it into playoffs to who is as a threat, but he's definitely not comfortable with his team at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Zardex, it's just he's having so much trouble getting that thing to function correctly.
Yep.
Number 7, we both decided to put Mr. Agnes. Because we don't know who Bash is. Why did you have Mr. Agnes here at number 7?
So Mr. Agnes has been having a good season, a respectable season so far. Has been blowing hot and cold. Some matches has been less great, but I think that's mainly because he's been really busy with his schedule, which is unfortunate. But he has put in the effort, and he has been some really good things. But this game against Metagross this week wasn't very good on his part, and
Definitely not.
that's why I have him 7th. I think he does have. I do see him potentially being in playoffs, but he needs to look over prep a bit better probably. Because I know that he's prepped a few games in advance, so he probably should take a look at those again before each game.
Yeah, definitely.
And he should be fine. Yeah.
It's something that I've noticed about Bash this season is he's struggling a lot with his consistency. It's just like 1 week he's on, like a week or two he's on, and then he's just off for another week. Like you said, he needs to focus more on making sure his prep is in order, because the matches he has won, it's looked like he's lost his match in prep rather than in the battle. It's just something for him to look out for, is just making sure that he has what he needs, and don't overlook anything like those outliers on people's teams. You never want to underestimate the lower tier threats.
I agree.
All right, moving on to number 6 here on our second to last slide. Well, third to last if we count the title slide, but second to last slide we have. I decided to put Bash here at number 6. Not bad. What is wrong with me? I am tired. I just got off work. This is Mr. Bradimus of the Samaradiness. He lost against you this week in the Commissioner Bowl. I got the liberty of listening to things he was talking to himself about, because he was in the call with everybody because it was the Commissioner Bowl day, but I think he had all of us muted on his end. But I got to hear some of the things he was saying. He was looking at your B drill, thinking it had drill run when you had already revealed every single move on your B drill. I remember that specifically. But like you said, he kind of lost the game as soon as he lost Crocodile. He made a prediction at some point, which also really hindered his potential to win. I don't remember exactly what that was on. I'd have to watch the replay again, but it was with Crook that he did it with, and then he lost it either the turn after or whatever. But I still feel like in the games that Brad has won, it's been a very commanding win on his part, but I think he just needs to focus on making sure that his threats, he learns how to work them better, especially with Zard X. It's been very underwhelming this season, and I think he just needs to focus on making that thing shine.
I'd just like to point out how different our rankings are from this point on.
Yeah, so different.
Alright, so number 6, I have Sketch, I think, who is coming off a 2-game losing streak, actually. He has been very good in the games that he's won this season, but he has been kind of letting himself down, in the sense that he gets kind of flustered when and that does affect his play a little bit. But I would say he got a bit unlucky against Peach this week, and against me last week as well. He is probably, I would have ranked him much higher, but I think the people ahead of him in the list consistent run of games recently. Obviously, they had a bit better luck as well, which unfortunately affected Sketch's ranking, in my opinion. But I can't really fault his play. It's been really good so far in his ASL tenure.
Number 5, which really surprises me, you have Matt at number 5. Why is Matt all the way up here at number 5?
Okay, so when I was on this power rankings a few weeks ago, I had Matt way down at the bottom, and I really recommended that he take a look at his team again, which he did, and he made I think 5 transactions, and I think now he's actually come off a 3-game win streak, and that is really impressive. And he has actually, I would say, turned his, and he's actually making a really late push for chaos, which
definitely
pull off if he wins his remaining 4 games, but each task. But I think based on his 3-game win momentum and the plays he's been making, have been really good, and he warrants place in the top 5 rankings. But
all right, so
why do you have Peach at 5.
All right. So the reason why I have Peach here, whenever I decided to rank Peach, I took a look at TCP and Peach both respectively, because their records and their differential are really similar. So I wanted to see which one has been having a better season. Just taking a look at Peach's games that he has left, I don't. A lot of the playoff coaches are who he has to face for the final few weeks. And I'm not sure if he can continue to pick up wins against them, because I know he faces you week 13, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he faces you week 13. He faces... I have to actually look at the schedule. I'm prepared. Okay, so he faces... where's he at? He faces Splurge week 11. He faces who week 10?
He's a static week 12.
Yeah, faces static week 12.
Faces... We are so prepared.
He faces Brad week 10. So he still has to face you and Brad, who are arguably two of the toughest opponents to face in the ASL. And if he loses those 2 games, his playoff chances are really, really... I'm not saying slim, but it's like really hard to say that he will, because everybody's gunning for those spots. And if he loses those 2 games, people are going to rise up, and it could be really, really close and very, very sketchy for him. But if he does win those games, very props to him. But it's just there's a lot of people that he's lost to that he didn't really have business to lose to. For example, I think he lost to Melone at some point, who's one of our lower ranked coaches. But just looking at week 9 in particular, he came off of a win versus Sketch, and it was just 1-0, so that was really close. And before Sketch was one of our top people. So I mean, it's really hard to say, but for me, I have him here at number 5 because I want these other people a little bit higher based on their record.
Okay. So at number 4, I have another Panda, Carolina Panchams, and I have Robert. So, the reason why I have Robert at number 4 is he's been really impressive this season since taking over Vicious place. He played TCP this week. Got a little bit unlucky with some hacks in the sense that Melone and I got a crit on his stocks of hacks. I think that kind of offsets the hacks TCP got in return from missing a 10-1 Will-O-Wisp on Landorus.
Yep.
But I think overall he's played really well, and he should be a good contender when it comes to playoffs. And but I think that losing against TCP kind of puts him a bit lower, and I would probably put TCP higher than him at this point because TCP is, I think, coming into his own at the moment. And that's why I have Robert.
Yeah, I decided to put TCP here at number 4. Looking at his schedule for the final few weeks, he doesn't really have that rough of a schedule. A lot of his matches with their higher end opponents were much earlier in the season, and I think he's going to have a very, I'm not going to say easy time because you never know what's going to happen. It's the ASL, but if it's based on like power rankings wise, if things go how they should, he should have a very easy time going through the rest of the weeks. TCP's always been one of those coaches who's been able to make a really strong late season push if he has lost a few games here and there. And I think that whenever it gets really stressful for him, he plays a lot harder. And I think that that's going to show whenever he's trying to keep himself in playoffs for these final weeks.
I have TCP at number 3, and I think he lost week 8. He got smashed 6-0 by Matt. other than that, he has been playing really well. I think week 8 was kind of an outlier. He played really badly that week. But other than that, I think I can't really fault the way he's been playing. And definitely going to be one of the favorites for playoffs to win his third crown. But he's going to have some stiff competition this season.
Definitely.
Robert this week, and it was a good win. Interested to see how he faces off with his remaining games. Yeah. Why do you have Sketch at number 3?
Sketch has been starting to fall off the wagon. Whenever I saw him lose his first game last week, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to turn it around next week. And then he lost a second time. Again, there's an argument for him to move lower, but his differential is just so freaking high. And it's just that pedestal that he was on. It's like he's slowly falling. And I think he was kind of letting the pressure of being on top get to him, thinking that he would be safe. But he really needs to get it into gear if he wants to keep himself up here, because he can just as easily fall out of playoffs, especially in these last few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I've done it before.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Something I'm proud of.
Oh boy.
At number 2, I have Peach, the better half of TCP.
The better half of TCP. Oh my god.
So I have Peach at number 2. I think he's on a little win streak at the moment with 3 wins. I think he played Melone, Shadow, and this week it was Sketch. Shadow is not an easy game to win. As I previously mentioned, Shadow's been on a little roll by himself as well. Sketch this week, it was a really close 1-0 win. I think it was Lucha and Fidi in the end, last two standing. It was a really impressive win on his part, and he is starting to build some momentum to probably get one of the 2 buys for playoffs. He does have a slightly tougher schedule. I think he plays Brad and me. So yeah, that should be interesting to see how that turns out for him. Why do you have Robert at number 2?
I have really been liking Robert so far. He lost against TCP, which I'm not going to really say too much about, because TCP is always a really tough opponent to face. But I've been really impressed on what Robert has been doing. It seems that he really fits in well with the competitiveness of the ASL. He didn't draft the team that he has, but I think that his knowledge and his comfort level with the team, it really shows in his battles that he's really comfortable with the team that he was gifted with. And I think it's always a good thing when somebody that takes over a team can make it shine, even though they're not the ones that drafted it. And I really have to give Robert props for that.
I agree. So, number 1, why'd you have me?
At number 1, we have Mr. Ian Alteria Motives, the man himself, the person who won this year's Commissioner Bowl. Well, this season, not years, but it's whatever. Anyway, he won the Commissioner Bowl, and I'm gonna freaking kiss him right on the mouth. I don't even care. But yeah.
Will there be some tongue?
Oh yeah, definitely. Get some tongue in there, a little saliva action. Might have to might have to grab a hold of the left butt cheek as well, but we're gonna save that for later. But we have Ian here, who's been doing some really great things this season. I've always liked watching you battle, because it's either it goes really good or it goes really bad.
Yeah.
And this season, it's been going really good.
Yeah.
I feel like that you've buckled down, especially from last season where you were really busy. and you started to lose a lot. But I think that you've really meshed well with this team that you have. You've gotten really comfortable with the mons that you have drafted, and I'm just impressed overall. You're freaking sexy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much about myself being number one on my own rankings as well. I feel like I've been team recently beat Sketch, Brad, and I think it was Texas. Yeah, 3 straight wins. I have Peaches, Shadow, Static, and Splurge left in the 4 remaining games.
Definitely not an easy schedule.
Easy schedule. All of these coaches are doing really well at the moment. Static, Shadow, and Peach on an upward trajectory. I think they are all on really good win streaks as well. So that should be interesting. But if I do win 2 of the 3, or 3 out of 4 games left, I should be in position for a bye, which is what I'm really aiming for at the end of the day. Yeah, that's about it, really.
God, I'm just excited to see how these last few weeks go. It always gets really intense whenever the last weeks go down. But this is gonna wrap it up, I guess. But as I said at the beginning of the video announcement, we have decided the new person that's gonna co-host Power Rankings with me. You'll see them next week, maybe. I might be out of town on vacation. You'll see them with either me or someone else, but it's Peaches who is the new co-host. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me on this final week,
fired
Ian.
Again for the second time.
I love doing this with you, though.
It was fun.
We just have scheduling issues. All right. Thanks for joining me on this final week. The farewell to Mr. Ian Alteria Motors. I love you, man.
Jules, love you.
All right. This will be it for us. Thank you so much for watching.